Sheffield here, and you need to subscribe, follow us, do what you got to do, because we have a very impactful story today. You know, so once again, follow us, Yonkers Voice, Sheffield Represents Vocation, People and Places, all on social media, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere. We're everywhere. So anyway, I got this story. Back in 2018, I had a dilemma. And the dilemma was very difficult for me to kind of figure out. And I'm actually wearing this jacket to kind of tell the story, because the jacket is part of the story. It's not that I woke up like this. Well, sometimes I wake up like this, but I want to, let you get the full impact of the story. So back in 2018, I got booked for this event. Every year I support autism awareness. As you know, April is Autism Awareness Month. So every year I get booked to MC and host an event. So this particular year, I was supporting the Morgan Marie Michael Foundation, and once again, I was being MC. So I usually wear some glitzy, glamorous outfits just because the people behind the organization, they're actually from various passion systems. So like, for example, Alyssa Lego, she's formerly a part of the Miss America organization. There's also Amanda Rukowski. Both of them, between them, are the two founders, and they represent various passion systems throughout the country and the tri-state area. So anyway, I was booked for this event. I was deciding to wear this jacket, but then I thought this jacket is very fabulous, because you need to take a good look at this, because the sequin is, and it's reversible sequin. You could actually go from black, you could go to silver. It's just fabulous, and I just feel fabulous just wearing this. So the problem is, how do I accessorize a jacket like this? So the first thing I figured out was, I'm into shoes, because you gotta, look good when you're walking, because every step you take in life makes an impact of the journey that you're taking. So I have to wear the right shoes. So as it turns out, I found some sequin shoes that actually match. So if you want to take a good look at this right here, once again, this is sequin, and it's reversible, same as the jacket, it's black and silver, back and forth, exciting times. So once again, my journey was set. I had the right shoes to step out. However, my outfit still didn't feel complete. So there's one thing that I felt that I really needed. So this is not the kind of outfit that you can wear like jewelry and things like that, because you want the sequins to kind of have that wow factor in there. So I did a search online, and I came across something where it turns out in Midtown Manhattan, where we're at right now, is the place, Weft Gloves. As it turns out, they are a custom glove maker, and they make really custom gloves. This is not the kind of gloves you go to Macy's, you go to JCPenney, you go to all these kind of department stores, and you just get them off the shelf, get them off the rack. These are actually custom gloves. And the thing that inspired me is actually coincidence. We have it right here. I saw this on a website or something similar, where this sort of sequin gloves, as it turns out, you see it matches my jacket. It's reversible, everything like that. The only thing is, this particular gloves, as you can see, the reverse side doesn't have the full impact. This is actually a full-length arm piece. It wouldn't necessarily work for my outfit. So I called up here, and I came down here in person, Weft, and guess what? They made me my own custom glove. So really get the detail in there. You got the little snap, you got all that in there. Reversible, both sides, black, silver, and when you can see the full outfit, I'm going to just stand up here, because now that you see everything, we got the jacket, we got the gloves, we got the shoes, I'm ready to step out, support Autism Awareness Month every April. I was very proud to wear this outfit, proud to wear these gloves. And the story behind the gloves is that here at Weft, they actually support and do a lot of work for celebrities. As soon as I wore this jacket and the gloves, people thought I was trying to mimic Michael Jackson. They thought I was trying to do some Billie Jean impression, things like that. It wasn't anything like that. It was just coincidence. If you want to wear sequins, hey, have fun with sequins. Not that you're trying to mimic Michael Jackson. But as it turns out, this same company here, they're home to Lacrasia Gloves, and they're actually the same company that used to make gloves for Michael Jackson. Not only for Michael Jackson, Prince, tons of celebrities. And one celebrity in particular is Lady Gaga. Right here, we have the framed version of her gloves that she wore in the Born display video. You can see right here, it's kind of studded, got the black fingerless gloves there, and these are actually screenshots from the video, so you might remember this. This is actual gloves that she wore. It's framed. If you come down here in the studio, let's see, the address is Midtown, but invitation only, you can't just show up, but it is Midtown Manhattan, and 265 West 37th Street, Suite 11E. Of course, you have to be invited to come, but they're all welcome to come. So we're going to put this right here, and we're going to take a tour of this particular area, because I think it's important for people to realize what really goes on between making gloves. It is a big process. As you can see, it took a lot of thought, a lot of ingenuity to come up with this outfit and have matching gloves, something that was custom to my needs. As you can see here on my left and to my right, there's all sorts of gloves that are here on display for the factory purposes. What they do here is actually they allow people, stylists, people who want to accessorize for their photo shoots, various magazine spreads. You could actually come here and get permission to use some of these gloves at any time, and then you kind of borrow what you need. As you can see here, we got more sequins, we have some lace things, all sorts of shoots, whether you're bridal, graduation, bar mitzvahs, funerals, or you just want to hang out, get that little punk look, or you just want to be in stylish, whatever you need, they can do it right here. So, I have a special surprise for all of you here, and I actually have the CEO of Weft Gloves, Katie Sue Nicklos. Thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome.
Yes. So, I was telling the story, of course. You made this fabulous glove for me. Yeah, and I just came to you. I just wanted one glove.
That's right.
And because you never saw the full outfit.
I didn't.
The pow, kind of thing. But I wanted to wear this today, after a few years, to pull it out, to say thank you for doing this. I appreciate that. Everyone loved it, first of all.
That's awesome.
And of course, as I mentioned in my intro, is a lot of pageant systems in there. So they're all used to wearing glitz and glamour and sequins and all that kind of stuff. So they thought that I was there to really support me. Right? And especially when I'm with my hair, with the colors and all that kind of stuff, they thought it was all that.
It totally
yes.
is all that.
Another coincidence,
yes.
as I come to find out, is one of the people I worked with is Baroness Olga Popovich. So it's just a coincidence that I worked on a number of projects with her, and this event was a combination of fashion show plus arts and awareness. She was actually part of the show, and she showed some of her designs there. So, coincidence, some of her designs are actually being used for gloves.
Absolutely.
Like her silk fabrics and things like the designs for artwork, and you make it to which is big coincidence, small world.
I know.
So I'm going to take this off right now. I'm going to leave the jacket on because there's not so many times I can wear the jacket in life, and so I'm going to keep this on. But I do want to talk about first, before we get about the process, because I really want people to know about the process of making gloves. But let's talk about your company itself. You are the CEO, Wing and Weft, but you do put on the tagline, home of Lacrasia Gloves.
That's right.
So, what is Lacrasia Gloves?
Lacrasia Gloves. So, Wing and Weft Gloves, I consider a fourth generation baby in a lineage of glove factories that came from Gloversville, New York. So, at the turn of the century, if you were an immigrant and you knew how to make gloves, you would make your way to Gloversville and there would be a job for you. It was like a town full of glove makers, which is crazy. It still exists, however, there are no glove factories there anymore. So, Lacrasia Gloves essentially acquired two glove factories that were associated with Gloversville and in Gloversville, and they they started their businesses in the mid-70s, and but the glove factories before that had been around a long time, and then we took over in 2017. So I say that we're like a fourth generation glove making baby.
Well, it's kind of interesting because as I told the story that I just happened to come across the website, I was trying to figure out what can match with sequins, and of course a sequin glove match with sequins.
A sequin glove, exactly.
And I came to come across your long sleeve, kind of interesting. But as I mentioned, people thought I was trying to do a Michael Jackson impression, which I wasn't trying to do.
But the one glove, people come to that conclusion.
But you work with so many different people, or the company over time, past 40 years or so. Not only prints, but some heads of state and their wives
Yes.
and things like that. So let's name drop
Okay.
some people here.
Well, our client list roster is basically, name a celebrity and we've loved them, which is really lovely and wonderful.
William Hung, American Idol.
I'm sure. I know who that is.
She thanks.
I know that.
Well, she said everybody, so
And
you know.
so maybe.
Yes.
What's interesting is sometimes because you saw our like huge selection of gloves here, sometimes stylists come in, buy gloves, and we don't really know who they go to, but then we see them pop up on Instagram or
Yes.
in People magazine or something. But this past in 2021, which seems insanely long ago, we did get to make gloves for Dr. Jill Biden for the inauguration, as well as Kamala Harris,
Yes.
which was really, really exciting. That all is done the same way that you did. It's her stylist, her designers coming to me with an idea, concepts of what they want for her, and we talked out what was going to happen. Same exact process for anyone.
So did they actually come here in person?
Not the actual people, but the stylists
All right.
did.
But did they at least do like on FaceTime or something with you so they could see the process, or did they
Usually-
trust the stylist?
Yeah,
Whatever it
usually
is.
all I get is like a hand tracing and measurements, and we did this when we were together.
Yes.
And the fabric that somebody wants to use, you can see my table is full of projects that are just like that right now.
Mhm.
And that's kind of the beauty of it. It doesn't really matter if who you are. It's all the same. It's all the same thing,
All right. So it seems like glove making,
Yes.
and I'm kind of naive to this before I met you. I thought, again, people could just go to the store and gloves. It never occurred to me that you could actually have custom gloves made.
Yes.
But of course, it makes sense. Then it makes me wonder, okay, well, can we get some custom scarves? Can we get some hats and go along with it? And it's kind of interesting because it seems like an art form
Yeah.
to this, and it's a lost art form.
Absolutely.
So how did you get involved in it?
Well, so I was a theater technician before I became the owner of this company, and so my skill sets are really like in building things. So when I got to know the business, I just discovered that it was basically just little costumes for hands. So and yes, in discovering the artisticness of it and the artisanness of it, it's basically a dying craft in the United States because there's like nobody who really teaches glove making in the United States anymore.
Well, where would you actually go for glove making? It's like a university course.
You would go to England.
specialize.
You would go abroad. Nobody would do it here. So it is very special, and that's one of the things that I knew immediately when I got the business was I was like, I have to see if I can save this. And I'm like in for my whole career, and hopefully I can do well enough to be able to pass it on to the
But if it's a lost art,
Yeah.
per se,
Yeah.
why even try to get into it? If you're like the sole savior of this
Oh,
art
God.
form,
I don't think I'm the sole savior,
well,
but-
it's a lot of burden on you because as I know, there's no other glove maker in all of New York City,
the
right?
thing that we specialize in is the leather glove making. So while we can do the fabric stuff too, we're the best that you can get in all of the styles of gloves.
Okay.
But the true skill of the glove making is in the leather gloves. So, and it's really, God bless anyone who tries. It's a really pain in the butt process, and it's difficult when it's done correctly. So yes, why say that? I don't know. I do know. It's because it's super special and there's a need for it. What would you have done?
But how do you explain this to your parents?
Right.
They're like, oh, you need to be a doctor or a lawyer. No, I want to be a glove maker. like, how do you get past that threshold?
Exactly. Thank gosh I have really, really cool parents. So they
Yes.
were totally into it. Yeah.
But then there's all side of it too. It's like, well, where can you go study? Well, there's only one place.
I know.
And if I don't end up owning it, there's no hope for me.
Well, that's the sad truth about it is that the way, especially in the garment district, the way businesses get passed down is that you have to spend time with the owners and the people who are passing the business on. So yes, I got to spend 3 years with my predecessor. I just soaked up everything I could, and we'll constantly be learning. This is in every art,
Yep.
you're constantly learning. You get to a point where you're like, yes, this is great. This is
Yeah,
special.
and I think it's great that you're joining us because again, it is a lost art form. There's other art forms such as like watchmaking, you know, shoemakers
Yes.
and repairs.
All of that.
All those, and I think that you kind of grouped into that sort of, you know, kind of profession where
Yeah.
it's needed. It's definitely needed back in the day because you had that personal touch. You added to that.
I
you know,
agree.
which is
I
great.
agree. It's like I consider it's like this special little secret niche last of business in New
Yes.
York, and it's super special that we're still here.
Yes. Despite COVID and everything
Despite
like that, people need gloves.
That's right.
No matter what. You know.
That's right.
So let's talk about the process.
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely.
So when I first came to you a few years ago,
Yeah.
we actually went through a process, which is kind of interesting. So let's kind of go through there. So I don't know if you're able to get a close up of some of this, but we want to kind of
My very
show
best it is.
the procedure.
Absolutely.
So if you ever want to come down here in person, get your own gloves made, this is what's going to happen for you. You know, and everything is sort of old school.
Everything is old school.
We don't have some
No.
computerized
No.
3D printers and things
No,
like that.
I've been asked many times, like, why don't you tech it up? And the whole point is that we want to hang on to these, like, traditional art
Yes,
forms.
yes.
So, yes, so everything's sort of very, like, the way they did it back in the day.
Okay,
So
right.
you start with hand tracing, and I
Okay.
take your dominant hand, so you can put whatever your
Okay.
dominant hand is down there.
So even though I end up doing the left glove, I needed my dominant hand to shake hands with people and all that. I didn't want them to touch my glove. But in this case, we're going to do the right hand.
That's right. And I do, yes. If your hand, some people's hands are different, like, but generally your dominant hand is the bigger one because of it's like what you lead with. So that's why we do that, just to get that airing of difference. You
Okay.
can lift that off, and then put your hand out straight like that for me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure around the knuckles, which tells you the glove size. So you don't include the thumb. Actually, this is a really good tutorial for anybody who's. I would be like, you should watch this because this is the measurement I need when you send me measurements.
So what point does a person stop growing their hands?
Oh, that's a really good question. I've never been asked that question. I should ask my master glove maker. That is a good question. I'm not sure. We do a lot of debutante gloves for girls who are maybe I think that's like 17, 18,
Yeah,
19,
yeah.
around that age. And I imagine that they're probably usually they can fit into their gloves again in like 5-10 years. But I guess it depends on how much you eat.
Okay. All right.
Like just like your feet, will get bigger with age. Probably your hands do too.
Yep.
That's a really great question.
Yeah, because I was wondering, people go through puberty, they go through various
Absolutely.
stages in their life.
Yeah.
Even as they get older, then some people shrink sometimes. Or,
100%.
So,
Or yeah, absolutely. Maybe, yeah, you would be a different glove size if you were like on Survivor for a
yes.
year.
Well, it's repeat business for you.
Yeah, that's
Every stage in life and decade, you need to get refitted for gloves.
That is correct.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
So then after we have the measurement, we have the measurement around the knuckles, and then we have a consultation about what exactly you had in mind, and we knew that we were going for this look, and you already knew that the
Yes.
fabric existed.
Right.
Um,
But there was another glove, and we're going to show that a little later, but we're going to
Yeah.
show some of that construction kind of thing,
Sure.
which is over here. Don't
do you
show
want
the gloves
you don't want
yet,
to see it yet?
but
Okay.
some of the other parts.
Oh, sure,
that's there.
absolutely.
You know.
Okay, so we can speak to that. So this particular one, we decided.
So
that,
a quick backstory.
Go ahead.
So what ended up happening was, as I mentioned, I support autism awareness. So as it happened, the same people that I worked with was doing a billboard campaign nationwide, and I was invited to be a part of that. And it came out a couple of years ago. And again, it's a lot of young girls and teenagers, and they're all part of this campaign. So I decided to wear some of the gloves, and I needed a new outfit. So instead of doing the sequencing, I needed something more casual, something more fun, where I could actually, be outside with. So I came to Katie again, and this right here is actually the fabric. We actually went.
The leather, yeah.
We went shopping, literally, and trying to find things and everything. So yeah, you continue.
Yeah, which is
about the
also
process.
something that's really special about being here in the garment district is that all of our suppliers are close, so like we could just walk and go, see what hits us.
Yes,
That's cool. So we talked about the design, and it was important that it not be a full finger glove.
Yes. So basically, the idea that I had, just another coincidence. I'm full of coincidence today. So I was used to be the publicist for Drew Hill. And Drew Hill, famous R&B group from the 1990s on Long Island Records. People may know this, but the lead singer is Cisco. You may know him from his debut album, and he had the hit song Thong Song. So the inspiration for these gloves came from the gloves that he wore in the Thong Song. Dong, da, dong, dong, dong. That song, you may know that. 5 million copies sold. But I needed gloves. So the idea was, and we're going to show the finished gloves after this, but the idea was to show gloves that only covered my finger and my thumb, the rest were exposed, and then we needed to figure something else out for that.
Which I apologize, did I finish the story? I don't know if I finished the story that we did make the gloves for Cisco. Did we?
Yes,
did you?
yes,
Okay,
yes,
okay.
yes.
Oh, Lacrasia did.
Yes,
So,
you made it.
We
and,
made
and
them.
actually, we had that question. So I didn't come here again because I knew that they made the gloves
Right.
for Cisco.
Right.
But after I explained the story, the same way you reminded yourself about
Yes,
it.
exactly.
You were like, oh, did we do this? There was another gentleman that you had working here at the time, and he actually looked at the records. I guess you have some file cabinet or whatever,
Yes.
patterns and stuff.
And pulled out
And he pulled it out, Cisco.
Cisco's file.
So he pulled out the file from literally 20, 25 years ago. He said,
Crazy.
yes, Cisco's here. So yes, I come to the right place.
That's right.
Michael Jackson and Cisco. And so you know this is the right place to come, Wing and Weft.
That's
you know,
right.
So,
That's
so
right. So you want to show what we ended up with?
yes, let's show that.
All right. All right. So once we decided that it was going to be a certain style, oh my God.
I added a few bells and whistles
Yeah.
afterwards, but we'll get to that. you know.
So we have like the custom embroidery, which
Yeah.
is
That's my custom
pretty
logo. That's my
awesome.
logo
yes,
itself.
which is really
Yeah.
amazing, and some detailing making it fit really well, which is the zipper. And I will let you. Oh, I'm gonna get that.
Actually, you don't have to take it all off.
I know. I
love
saw
the
that.
trick.
Why don't you do this one? And I'm gonna run away. I'll be right back.
Okay. So the trick is to put this on by yourself is don't unzip it all the way because it's impossible to put it back on by yourself all the way. So I just put it a little way, as you can see here, and I put it on, and then I put the zipper on here. And then the other one, same way, and I put this back on. Ah, fashion is something, you know. So I may need help for her to put this on. Let's see. It's kind of stuck. It's all about looking good, despite the troubles you have to look good. You know? All right, now I got it.
Did I get it stuck?
Yeah, I got it unstuck. All right, so now it's on.
Awesome.
See, it looks sort of like his gloves just because the fingerless part and this finger and the thumb is covered. However, his gloves, if you look back at the video, is a little bit different. He actually has some sort of longer gloves and it comes out a little. So I wasn't trying to remake his gloves.
No.
I have my own fingers, my own style of, you know. So, but after we did that, I actually went to the store and bought some things here. So this is sort of like I don't know what you call this.
Well, you made your own artistic zipper pull, is what you
Yes.
did. Very nice.
I added this, plus the ribbons on here, because as I mentioned, with these events that I do, for autism awareness, these are actually the colors
That's awesome.
of their logo and things
Yeah.
like that. And when I'm on stage and things like that, it helps to express and you see things. And you know, as a theater person, you have to over-exaggerate,
Absolutely.
you know, and things like that. So, it worked out very well for me. This has actually appeared on the billboard, things like that. And actually, I re-wore the gloves in another event. I think it's about a year or so ago.
Cool.
It was an event at a farm in Queens.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they had farms in Queens. But literally, it's a farm. They have alpacas. They have all these kind of
Oh my
things in the
gosh.
middle of Queens. And we had some Broadway stars. I support Broadway Sings of Pride. They had some Broadway stars perform from the play Hair.
Cool.
They had Kimberly Locke from American Idol.
Yeah.
And then, coincidence again, they had a floral exhibit. It's like a travel floral exhibit. So I actually did some poses and all that
Awesome.
with the flowers. It all came out looking good. you
These
know.
are beautiful. This is like a classic example of exactly what you want to do if you customize a glove. Like,
Yes.
they're detailed, they're specific, they're unique, they're
Yes.
gorgeous, they're chic.
Yeah. And the other thing too, another coincidence, again, if you go back a few years ago, Janet Jackson, there was an award show where she performed a tribute to her brother Michael. that had passed away recently at the time, and she actually wore similar gloves in there, and they performed Scream. You know, Michael was passed away already, but obviously they had like a screen behind him, and she performed.
I remember that. That's cool.
So,
yeah, very cool.
So, did you make that glove? Right?
That was before me, but I bet we could consult the drawers.
Yes. Well,
we make a lot of gloves for Janet.
If they made Michael's gloves, I'm sure they made Janet at some point. You know, or at least Tito or somebody.
Somebody.
Like that.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna take this off.
Amazing.
Because we want to take a quick tour
Absolutely.
of the other area, so people really see that it's just not you standing behind this
That's
desk.
right.
You know, it actually is an art form and people working.
That's
You
right.
probably heard the sewing machine in the background this whole time. They're hard at work.
That's right.
So we're not going to disturb them too much, but we're going to do a nice.
Amazing.
follow
Okay.
you.
Awesome. I'm gonna put these in my pocket. All right. So this is our glove factory, and this is one of our wonderful employees. She's working on some mittens for a wonderful entrepreneur in Baltimore. Her company is called White Paw Run Mitts, and it's mittens for runners.
Oh, okay.
So which is very cool, and you can buy them at REI, which is like.
So this
really
actually has a
amazing.
patent number on it. Is this your patent?
No,
or-
it's the woman who's our client.
Okay.
So these are inside out right now, but I'll show you a turn product because we're going for.
But you know, it seems like you're making a lot of these by hand. Why can't you just replicate this? Because this doesn't seem so custom in a sense, or is it really custom?
No, this is going to be small batch production. So some of the other things that we do, aside from the custom gloves, is that if somebody wants a glove line, then we can develop it and then do it in bulk. So
Okay.
it's basically I try to help people make as many gloves as they want to make here in the United States.
Yes.
Yeah. So we the machines that you see here are industrial machines, but they're also like specific to glove making. So for example, like this is all bunch of gloves that we are prepping for Moulin Rouge on Broadway.
Okay.
If you go see that show, it's Glove City. It's like gorgeous gloves. They're all made here.
You do a lot of Broadway shows, I know.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah, we're really proud of that. We're proud of being like so accessible and here when anybody needs us.
So are you actually on the theater set as they're doing this? Kind of, you know,
No, costumes and gloves. Again, the designers and the assistant designers come to us and bring us the measurements, or they pull from the wall and they take things away.
Okay.
So sometimes the costume studios, like an actor, will go down for fittings, but usually everything's taken away and fit up. So we don't have as much like
Yes.
celebrity, like
Right.
being around them in person as much as you probably think that we would.
Right.
This is a tiny little glove machine, and it's built in the 1920s.
I was about to say my grandmother
Yes.
has a bigger size of it,
A
but it
bigger
looks
size.
looks
A little
just like
different.
it.
They're so cute, and these glove machines all came from Gloversville, which is like all the machinery that we have that is glove specific has come from Lacrasia Gloves, which came from the companies before her.
So if this is from the 1920s,
Yeah.
why couldn't you just buy a newer one
Oh,
that's
no.
more efficient? It has to be that.
No,
That's
I'm
a
gonna also show you
style.
something else that's like my favorite thing in my factory. It's just like your grandma's toaster, if you remember using that. Like, it's the best toaster because it was built at a time where everything was really built well. It's no plastic parts. It can be serviced. It's like it's the best. Nothing can be better
So
than these machines.
what happens if this breaks or you need new parts? Where do you go?
Good question. So we're really lucky. We have a repairman, a machine mechanic who has a shop in the building, and also I let him store some things up here just because it's nice to have a mechanic around.
Yes.
And he's so knowledgeable. This is a plug for anyone who's like interested in like mechanics or anything. If you want to be a sewing machine repair person, you will have a career in the garment district. All of the people who know how to do that are like, I'm not going to say I don't like to say old, but they are more advanced in years than I am, and they need apprentices. So
And you get a discount on Weft Gloves.
that's right. Listen. If some 20-year-old was like a whiz at sewing machine repair, I would totally foster that relationship with my
All right, so
mechanic.
you heard it here first.
That's right. So reach out if you're like, I want to be a sewing machine mechanic.
Yes.
It's very needed and necessary.
Okay.
And then the answer is for these specifically, we can't find the parts for these anymore here in the United States. I basically have ravaged all of the sources. So my mechanic says that I probably would need to have a trip to Europe if I ever in the future
And
need
I'm sure
to.
you have to go there in person with that because you don't trust
You probably.
the service.
I actually would be able to like try to take a picture and be like, I need this tiny little piece, you know.
Okay.
So it gets, you know, at some point they will be like there will be a piece missing and you won't be able to use it. But
Okay.
yeah, very interesting. So then a lot of our machines then are also just regular industrials or things you find in a costume shop. A blind hammer. And these are some of the coolest stuff we have. And I'll show you this finishing step for the mittens that we're doing. These are glove irons. So they help with the finishing step of the glove. And they're hot. That one's not hot, but it's like a regular pressing
So
iron.
it's like a mold kind of thing that
Yeah.
presses it in a sense?
Yeah. So basically, it's the last step where you put the glove on top. And I can show you with this little guy right here. This guy's not turned inside out yet. But it helps basically just remind the glove that it wants to be a glove.
So gloves have memory.
They if you sew them correctly, and you can tell, like maybe if a home sewer has tried to sew a glove, the fingers come out all like, and this glove iron is something that helps form the fingers out.
Well, you know, that makes sense because, like you said, you specialize in leather gloves.
Yes.
Leather has memory.
Absolutely.
You know, such as like shoes and things like that.
Yeah. So in the glove factories, these would be lining the walls, all different sizes, and the people who were masters of these machines would be knowing if a glove is exactly this size. This is 6.5. If it was bigger or smaller, they knew if it had imperfection. It's also like glass quality control check.
Okay.
So anyway, these mittens, this is like one of the, we just kind of make sure that the wood's pressed down. It's so pretty. But they're really cute. You can go, like, I don't know, I'm not a runner, but like if you get hot, I guess, and then you get cold again, you can like scrunch your little hood in there, put a hot pack in there. Anyway, they're beautiful, polar fleece, really cozy.
That's great.
Yeah. All right, so I'll show you. See my favorite thing in the whole factory?
All right.
Okay, we'll go on the long tour. This is all our fabric storage. Nice big tables for us to cut and do work. But this machine is my Schwabi clicker. And basically this machine was built in the 1940s, so it's the same concept. Like the older the machine, the better it is. And this helps us with batch production. So for instance, that glove I just showed you, I pressed on the iron. It was clicked out with this die. And this puts the pressure on this and cuts it out. So right now I can show you, I have some fourchettes and some fabric. Shall we? So instead of hand cutting, we do hand cut everything that's custom, but if we go into production, we'll use this for cutting. Isn't it cool?
Yes.
I know.
1940s.
1940s. It's called a
Who's that?
Schwabi clicker.
Henry?
And we named it Henry. Henry was the guy who taught me how to use this. He was Lacrasia's brother.
Okay.
So it was a whole family affair back in the day.
History.
Yes, history. Really good history. Cool.
Right. That's great. So, thank you again.
You're so
for
welcome.
giving me this tour, and come on down. Once again, we get the address. I mentioned invitation only.
Well, you can absolutely call me and say, I'd love to come in for a custom fitting. Because of COVID restrictions, we are keeping things a little spaced apart, but please call. Please call.
So how can people reach you then?
Yeah, give me, you can go to our website, wegloveyou.com, which is pretty easy to remember, and all of our information is there. Just give a ring. Either I or Tamara will answer the phone, and we'll set you up for some custom gloves. We cannot wait to glove you.
All right. And it worked for me twice, and I'll come back again. So thank you again for joining me, Sue Nicklos, and this is People and Places. Follow us, subscribe. You never know where we'll end up next.